why Jenny is alone. She's such a great personality. She's so cute. And Jenny be stuffing a double bacon cheeseburger down her throat like it's the last bacon cheeseburger on earth. If you can you pull up the James verse? That a lot of what we're dealing with now has been talked about in the Bible. Let me read that. James 4:6. But he gives more grace. Therefore, it says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. You know how you receive grace as a woman that thinks too highly of herself? Go back down to your level and you might find a good man. That's how you're going to receive grace from God. The reason why you probably getting played, the reason why you probably getting ran through, the reason why you probably getting stood up on dates is because you're proud. You think you're at a level up here and you're going for men that are way up here and you think you deserve that rather than coming back down to your level, accepting your old mediocre men for your old mediocre self, having a good mediocre life, having some mediocre children, and being happy. That's what you need to do. But they ain't doing that. Let's read the other verse if you can. We'll be pulling up Luke, the Luke verse. Says, for everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. This is for men and women. I'm not just talking, but I see this as an epidemic amongst women. And because people so scared of women in the Christian community, we don't address it. I'm going to address it. Many women are far too prideful, and God is humbling them by letting them die alone. These women think that they just the best thing ever. I never went through life just saying, man, if a woman don't like me, she just lame. She mediocre. I'm so far above these women out here. I never thought that. There is a hierarchy to life, and I understand that. But to think that you are so far above everybody when you're clearly mediocre, it goes to show you something built that mindset within her. And it's so many women that have it that you kind of got to wonder what is it about it. And let me say this. Here's what I believe the problem is. And we can pull up study number 1, Mr. Producer. And I looked up a bunch of different studies here. And you'll see here, yeah, study number 1. A study from OKCupid reveals that women rated 80% of male users as less than medium attractiveness, while men's rating of women followed a more typical bell curve distribution. Women love to say, well, what about the men? This is not a man problem. This is a woman problem. This is a woman problem. Men, we struggle with pride in one way, but women struggle with pride in this way. Look at what's going on here. So it says that average women are looking at 80% of men and labeling them as average or below. That's insane. Now, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that a woman should go out there and open her legs for any old person. That's actually the opposite of what I'm saying. What I'm saying now is that it's not an epidemic of women not having sex. That's not what I'm seeing. It's not an epidemic of chastity. That's not what I'm saying. It's not an epidemic of women saying, I refuse to give my body to anyone until I'm married. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm seeing is woman 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 going to one man and saying, we all deserve Chad. We all deserve Tyrone. And the rest of the men, they're not on our level. So they all get played. And then at the end of their life, and when they 45, with they wine and they kittens, then they want to turn around to a godly man and say, I just don't know where the good men have gone. I've been praying all my life. All my life. Like, what is that movie where the purple, the color purple? Yeah, the color purple. You told Harpo to beat me. They be crying like somebody did something wrong to them. You made bad choices. Your pride was too big. Disparities and swiping behavior. The difference between men and women and their swiping behavior. Data from my fault. Swipe stats indicates that men swipe right, indicating interest, far more frequently than women. Men average of 16,368 right swipes, and women average of 2,283 right swipes. Despite this, women match rates are significantly higher. Women's average of 30%, 30.7, men average match of 2.63. What does that tell us? If you want to break this down in just a simpler term, if you're not with math, 1 out of 4 women, if you that's rounding down a little bit because 1 out of 4 will be 25%. It's 30%, so it's a little more than that. 1 out of 4 women, everybody they swipe on, they get that match. 1 out of 4. Imagine if 1 out of 4 girls you hollered at as a man said yes. That's some record numbers. Women, the average woman, 1 out of 4 of them, they say, "Oh, I like this dude, and this dude, and then this guy." And this guy says yes. 30%. What is men's swipe rate where they get a connection? 2%. Out of 100, they get 2 that might like them, that they might be able to set up a date with. Now, if the culture wasn't so degenerate, we could point out even more problems, but the reality is, like I said before, women are not saying no to sex. They're just saying no to sex with average men. They're just saying no to sex with 98% of men. And then they're all going towards the top 2%, which shows like they all think they deserve that top 2%. And have no mistake, they don't feel lucky that Chad is taking them on a date. They don't feel lucky, they feel like that's what they deserve. When Chad takes him out and bones one day, and bones the next day, and bones the third day, they all feel like Chad is doing something wrong, which he is on his from his perspective, but they all feel like he's doing something wrong because they all deserve him. Instead of they're all giving him access. They don't take the responsibility on themselves and say, it's 98% of men out here that kind of I should be looking at. Maybe they have good character. Maybe they're good fathers. Maybe they would be good companions. Maybe they would love me. Maybe they will protect me. Maybe they will provide for me. Maybe we could have good families. Nope. All that's out the window because they like 2% of the dudes who are the most attractive they can ever possibly get. That's sad. That's a pride issue. Let's go to the next statistic. 3, high selectivity. That's number 3, right? Yeah. that picture, that picture is funny. No, it's cool. That picture is a fat oaf. Man. A girl like that still think she can get any dude she want. Anyways, I seen a girl like that on a show, and she was like, "I'm fine." I think they call her Gorlock the Destroyer. I don't know if it's a man or not. It has a man type face, but it's just a hideous being, a wildebeest, just a despicable specimen of a human. I don't even know what you call it. An abomination. It's disgusting. And it was talking about how it's fine. I wanted it to get out of my face. So high selectivity leads to low match rates for men. Men approximately, this kind of reiterates what we just talked about. Men approximately one match for 140 swipes. Women approximately one match per 10 swipes. That's incredible. Let's go to the next one. Preference of top tier profiles. And that's going to be study number 4. It says here research indicates that women tend to favor a small percentage of highly attractive male profiles. For instance, the only profile out of 100 was liked by more than 80% of women in any given study. suggests that a strong preference for top tier profiles, that there is a strong preference for top tier profile. So when you see a lot of these women, right, especially because we've given over society to secularism rather than Christianity, Christianity tells us that, God will lead you to your mate. They're going out there and they're trying to find them themselves by getting out there on all these dating apps and swiping people, treating them like, ordering a meal. They're treating relationships like I'm picking out a side for my burger or something. They're swiping and they're like, no, not attractive. No, not attractive. And they do that 100 something times. And then they finally find somebody who's like the top of the top, the most Chad of all Chads. And then they say, that's the one I want. Well, all of the women are doing that. The study number 5. And it's gender ratio imbalance and how it intensifies competition. Tinder uses base Tinder users base comprises approximately of 75.8 men and 24.2% women, creating a competitive environment for male users. Now you got to discuss why that is. The reason that is because women don't have to go on dating apps to find somebody. They can just walk out in the parking lot and a man will hit on them. That's just the reality of being a woman. That's nothing to be mad at. If you're a man, you realize you're the hunter, you're going to have to persist in finding a wife. That's just part of being a man. If you at home eating chips and, not lifting weights and not developing yourself, don't think a wife is going to knock at your door and say, "Would you marry me?" It's not going to happen. So part of that is just a reality of men and women. But let's read the rest. This imbalance may contribute to women's increased selectivity, as they have a larger pool of potential matches to choose from. Now, women's selectivity is nothing wrong. Let me just say it like this. For a lot of the red pill dudes who get the red pill rage, and they say things like, women are overly selective. You don't understand. What I'm talking about is the pride issue. I'm not talking about this idea that women should be sleeping around or this idea that women should just accept whatever. No, women should look for the best man they could find and then they should marry him. It shouldn't be no, well, I want to find the best man I can find and then sleep with him, and then my friend's gonna find the best man, which is the same guy, and then sleep with him. And then you create a market of where the top guy sleeps with every woman and no other man gets every woman. Now, I've heard some arguments against some of the things I'm stating. And a lot of it from feminists come from a stupid place of, well, you must want women you can't get. I'm married. I could care less what happened to a lot of these people. Some of these people don't deserve no relationship. They've been losers. They're going to stay losers. And I'm talking about dudes. A lot of these loser dudes are going to stay losers. They don't deserve a relationship because they don't want to better themselves. They don't want to do anything. And that's fine. Then you'll die alone too. But a lot of the women are going to die alone, not even knowing what the problem is. The problem is the world lets men know what's wrong. If you a loser, when I was a loser back in the day, long, long time ago, my friends was like, dude, you being a loser. Get your money up, dress nice, smell good, go out, meet somebody. My friends will let me know, dude, you being a loser. Or you staying home this weekend, dude? You soft. You a weak, you loser. They will let you know right off the bat. Oh, you dressing like that? You dressing with them bummy shoes? You ain't gonna get no girls. Men let each other know. The problem I have with women is they don't. They will sit here with a friend, and the friend will be 300 pounds looking like a beluga whale swamp donkey. And then they'll wonder why. I don't understand why Jenny is alone. She's such a great personality. She's so cute. And Jenny be stuffing a double bacon cheeseburger down her throat like it's the last bacon cheeseburger on earth. And then they be wondering why they act like they don't know why. If women started telling each other the truth, I think we would have better prospects. We would have more marriage, especially if you call yourself a Christian. But and this is the last thing I'll say on this issue before we go to the next issue. The video perfectly encapsulates that women feel that they have a right to tear you down, but the other way around could never exist. And what I say, women will say, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Women are being torn down on the internet all the time. Actually, no, they're not. If you go on Instagram right now, you will see some girl in her little spandex yoga suit, and every single comment will be positive. It will be positive. Not one comment will be, hey, you shouldn't be dressing like that. Or not one comment will be, hey, you're kind of fat. Not one. They'll all be heart eyes and love your babe, love your curves. All of the comments will be positive. That does something to you because the internet is destroying people's sense of self. It's destroying their ability to critique themselves. My wife and I was talking about it because one of the things that's destroying women's ability to critique themselves is filters. Women put a filter on Instagram and they think that's who they are. I don't understand that. I can't fathom that, but it's true. It's really happening. Women are putting filters on Instagram and they think that's the equivalent of me being like, I'm gonna put on a Batman costume and now I'm Batman. I'm gonna fight crime. Who would be that stupid to think that way? But a lot of women do because they what they put online is what they really believe themselves to be. And I think it would behoove us as Christians, if you're a Christian watching this channel, to not be so engulfed in pride that it destroys your potential future.